So because we're going to be working with the API again, let's go ahead and check out our API Explorer. We're going to be using a different endpoint here. So go ahead and scroll up to the top. We're looking for search. In fact, I might just do a Command F and look for search on the page. There we go, youtube.search.list. This is the one that we're looking for. So for, again, in part, just put snippet. That's going to be fine there. But then we got to have some sort of query where we're, searching for something, and that's this queue. So let's just, for example, we're looking for egg videos maybe. So I'm just going to put in the search term eggs. There's a couple more things that we want to specify. Really, this is just to make sure that we don't use the API too much, because, well, I'll show you, for example, if we just leave everything as default and we, authorize this, I'm going to come back, I'm going to have to accept that. Okay, now we get back our information here. So I searched for, egg videos, and it gave me back a total of 5 different things here. The thing is, you really want to be careful about how many videos that you ultimately get back. Now, personally, I think 5, 6, something like that. It's actually a pretty good number of things here, but you may want to limit the number that you're actually getting back here. So on this max results, for instance, if I put something like 40 inside of here, you can see you can go all the way from 0 to 50. Like if I put 40 and then execute this search, it's going to give me back 40 egg videos. And the problem with this is that YouTube counts for every video it sends you back, that's another use of its API, and it has these daily limits. And even when I was just testing here locally on my own computer, I think I was taking back like 20 results, but I was really starting to hit limits, especially when I didn't have a timer in my JavaScript. And so is really an idea to say, I probably should limit results to something. Again, to me, I think like 5 or 6 is the right answer, maybe 6. Let's just roll with that for now. But anyways, let's execute that, and we should see something like this. Okay, we get back 6 egg videos, and look, they've got all the proper, type of information that we're looking for. And more importantly, we get an awesome URL here that we can use inside of our code to go get this information. So I'm going to copy this, come back into our code. So we're going to beef up our video search here. So we have the proper search term, but before we return with that JSON response, there's a couple of things that we're going to want to do here. So the first one is we're going to have to try and take our search term and actually turn it into something that can be embedded in a URL. So for the time being, let's just go ahead and paste this out. I'm going to leave that as a comment. And then we're going to use that URL lib to actually work with our string here. So I'm going to say URL lib dot parse dot, and then I want quote. Great. So inside of here, this is where we're going to then take our search term or our search form, the clean data, right? All that good stuff. And we'll just plop it right inside of there. So we're going to have this be, we'll just call this encoded search term. Great, so we've got this little piece here. Then with this in place, we're able to then do one of those requests.get. So I'm going to say requests.get. And then inside of here, again, I want to do a string with that F in front so I can, do some string interpolation. I'm going to cut and paste that URL there. Now we have a few things to specify here. So the first one, instead of your API key, again, this should be YouTube API key. Let's keep max results at 6, but for the queue, this is where we want to provide what we had just created. So inside of here, this is where we're going to say encoded search term. Awesome. So then we have the following information moving over, and this should come back. Let's say response is equal to whatever this one gave us. The next thing that we're going to do with this is we want to turn this into some JSON that we can ultimately spit back. So inside of our return, we're simply just going to say return a JSON response of response dot, and then we'll do JSON with the parentheses there, okay? And I'm going to clean this up a little bit. So if things aren't working, for example, if we got back some bad information, I'm going to change this to be a little dictionary that says error, and we'll say something like not able to validate date form. There we go. That should be a little bit more descriptive of what's happening. Okay, so this is the server side of things, and this is going to literally spit back like this big chunk of code. It's going to be our job on the JavaScript side to decipher this and work with what we want. So here inside of our success function, ultimately we're going to want to do something with the search results, but nothing right now. So let's sort of leave that off for a second. For right now, let's go ahead and create a string that we can add our results to, and then ultimately we'll use that to add them to the search results here. So I'm going to say something like var, and let's just call this results is equal to an empty string, and I want my semicolon on the outside there. I'm actually going to take our search results here, and after we create this string, I'm going to set the text inside of there just to be equal to an empty string, okay? And then eventually here down at the end, we're going to say search results dot append, and then this is where we're going to append whatever results is, and that will sort of add it to the end. So this says, okay, anytime we get new search data, we'll clear out whatever's inside of there, and then we'll fill it in with the following information. Okay, so we've got that in place. The next thing that we need to do is we need to, provide back some information here about all the different videos that are coming. So we are going to have to do some sort of loop through all of that information. So let's do a data, which again is the JSON that we're getting back. So we're going to say data, and let's go get the items. And to really see what this is, if we go back here, you can see there's this items. Once you get into here, it's an array of all the different videos. So let's just go ahead and say data for the items, and we'll do a dot for each, lowercase 4, capital each, and then we want a function on each of these, so function with the parentheses. Inside of that, we're going to have the video object, and then we'll do our curly brackets, just like this. Make sure that at the end of this you have a semicolon there. But here, I just want to say results plus equals, and I want to add something like the video's title or something like that. So I'm going to go and grab that information. So I'm going to say video, and then on this particular video, we want to go get, for example, like its snippet, and then its title, okay? So we're going to add that to the results, then we should append those. Let's just go ahead and see if this works. So I'm going to come back, and let's get back to our add video page here. So let's search for something like eggs. Again, sort of our classic example, and look at that. We're getting back 6 videos with their proper titles here. To make sure this is working, let's do something like Kanye West. Okay, and notice it didn't do any searches because I didn't have a second in delay there. And look at that, we're getting back all these Kanye West songs. The code is working. The thing is, this is really a crummy way to be able to select a video and have that be added to the Hall of Fame. So this is where we're going to sort of dive into Bootstrap and make sure that this thing really looks beautiful. So we want all of our information to be contained inside of a row. So before we do the looping, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say, all right, results plus equals, and I'm going to add onto this a string where I create a div, and this div's class is going to be equal to the double quotes row. Okay, so that's all looking fine there. Make sure I have my semicolon at the end of that. Then we're going to do our looping through here. And then finally at the end of that, we're going to have the ending div. So I'm going to copy and paste this down below, but say inside of here, I just want this to be an ending div tag. Okay, so now we have a proper div around all of this. Okay, we'll go ahead and save that. The next thing that we want to do is we want to have these little cards that are going to be showing up for our project here. And so we'll go ahead and write the code for that. So again, we want to do a string, add the semicolon there, and just sort of follow along with me here. I'm going to say div class is equal to call -md -4 space mt -3. Got our ending double quote there. Great. And then we're going to end that div. We're then going to start a different div. Okay, and in this div, we're going to say class is equal to another double quote here, card mb-4 shadow -sm. Great, and we'll end that tag there. For these, we need to make sure that we have two ending divs on the end of this. So we're going to have another results down here at the end. And this is just going to simply be, oh, and I forgot the ending uppercase tag there. Okay. So inside of this, we're going to have our /div and then another ending div. If you're wondering where I'm getting these cards from and this code stuff, I just went to getbootstrap.com. If you go to the examples, I was using the cards that are found inside of this album. So you can actually copy this code if you want to. It might save you a little bit of time, but I mean, we've ultimately got a good chunk of what we're hoping for here. And we're only going to get more custom, but okay, so we've set up that we have this column and this little card, right? The next thing that we want to do in here is we want to do our results plus equals. And now this is where we want to add the embedded YouTube video. And so we've got to have some embed code. This is where I recommend going to like YouTube and, for example, let's just use this Mario level. If you hit the share button here, you can say, I want to embed this, and it's actually going to give you this cool iframe code. So we can go ahead and just copy this, come back, put this inside of a string, again with the semicolon, and we'll just go ahead and paste that in. Now, please note that we don't want all of the information inside of here, and in fact, like width, we want this to be equal to 100%. And we want the height on this to be equal to 225. You can play around with what you think is right, but I think that's probably a good one. But just go ahead and have that inside of there. We'll keep the rest of this going. Frame border 0, yes. Allow accelerometer, autoplay, encrypted media. Yeah, this all seems good. Really, the last thing that we've just got to change here is rather than having this particular video embedded there, we want to have our video showing up there. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to end the string, and we'll add inside of here, new piece of code. This is where we'll say video, and then we want to go grab the ID of that particular video, and then we're going to have to do video capital ID. Now, if you're wondering, Nick, where did you just randomly go get all of this code from? If you go back to our API, you can see if we go to ID, oh, look, there's the video ID. That's where we can go grab that thing. Let's test out what we have for now. Let's save this, come back, and let's reload our home page. So I'm going to search for egg videos, and we should be seeing some iframes here. And oh my goodness, check that out. Isn't this so cool? Like, we have actual video results showing up via Ajax. Like if I change this now and I start saying like Kanye West, well, all of a sudden, boom, we get some Kanye West videos showing up. Like, how great is that? Now, you could totally change about how you want to handle this. Like you could, for instance, go grab like the thumbnails and just simply display those than rather having to load all these different iframes in here. But for me, I kind of like that these videos are showing up and someone could say, is this the one that I wanted? Like hit the play button and then starting to see like, oh, if that's it. And eventually we're going to have like a little add button here that's going to add the video. But anyways, this is probably a good place for us to stop right here. But in the next one, we'll go ahead and finish up everything so that it's completely ready to go.